Brings us to our conversation this morning, and I'll be speaking with the Director General of the Nigerian Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Ambassador Ayo Olukoni, about Nigeria's readiness for the largest trade agreement since the formation of the World Trade Organization. Good morning, Ambassador. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here.
All right. Now, so we're finally here. Do you actually think that Nigeria is ready for this deal, looking at the state of the economy?
First, let me say that better late than never. And we're very, very delighted, especially the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. And of course, all the Nigerians should be glad and delighted that we finally ratified, just at the nick of time, which means now that we are fully in the house. We are part of it, but most importantly, when you talk about the technical dimension of it, that we are now a state party to the AfCFTA.
Now, we say that we're ready, we ratify the AfCFTA, but the land borders are still shut. What signals, does this send?
Well, of course, the land borders are still shut, but this is something which I think government must and quickly have to deal with quickly now. But beyond that, this is to enable us full advantages in terms of being part and parcel and trading within the frame. But apart from that, let me say that de facto, as it is now, Nigeria is already even, Nigerians and Nigerian companies are part and parcel of the AfCFTA, are already implementing. A broad areas of manufacturing of goods, services, trade and investment. It's a huge canvas. And I think the first thing to do, and I think that was why in NACCIMA we decided to have what we refer to as the AfCFTA dialogue series. You must understand the fine details. Trade agreements are always very tough. You must have a good grip of it. So it is necessary. So the first thing we did was to start the AfCFTA dialogue series, the state of negotiations, the various aspects of it, the question of issues of trading goods, the whole question and issues of certificate goods that are the certificate of origins in terms of goods generally. So you need to have an understanding of this, and this is one of the things which we are doing along with the OFP, the organized members of the organized private sector. But I was just saying that already. If you look at the banking sector, the Nigerian banks across Africa. I served in the foreign service for 35 years, and part of it I also served in Kenya. When I was in Kenya, there was hardly any Nigerian bank in Kenya. Now, fast forward to this period, you have the various banks. If you will not charge the banks, so that I don't mention their names, but of course, I mean, you have the Zenith, you have your UBA, you have, all of them are there. What are they doing? Engaging, this is AfCFTA in practice. Next door Ghana, when Ghana was also recapitalizing and, of course, restructuring the banking sector, at the end of the day, it was the Nigerian banks that took over the place. So, and if you go across West Africa too, you find Nigerian products all over the place. So implicitly, de facto, we are out there. So what is left now is to ramp it up, capacitate our companies and others to get ready in terms of trading. And by the way, the AfCFTA Secretary General Wamkali Mene came in to Nigeria. While he was going round to sensitize and get people ready for 1st January, he spent about a week here. 1 solid week. And most of the companies whom he saw some of the companies, it was with government, it was also with the legislator, the private sector, the bank. That is a reflection of the importance of Nigeria in this business. And that's why all of us must get ready for it, especially focusing on the SMEs. So focusing on the SME, because if you go across West Africa and even some part of Africa, I was in I think Uganda and which other place recently, and I found Nigerian products. And when they discovered I was Nigerian, they said, you're from Nigeria. Please, can you help us? We need more of this. We need more of product of yours. So we need to have a mental attitude to get ourselves ready. I'm not discountenancing the challenges that are there, but I think we can work on them. Infrastructure, roads, and a few other things.
Exactly. So you talked about, what we need to do now, infrastructure and roads,
Yes,
like you
of
mentioned.
course.
So if you look at all of this now, looking at the operating business
Environment.
environments, how conducive is this to make this thrive?
It's a tough operating business environment now, no doubt about it. We must acknowledge that reality. It's an existential reality for us, especially when you look at COVID-19, the impact it has had, and also when you look at the whole crisis of the NSAS project. That's one part of the equation. We must deal with all those issues, which means in terms of the infrastructure. But I'm glad that government is working in terms of, one, the question of infrastructure, the roads, the roads, the rail as well. And don't also forget that air freighting is also going to be part and parcel of this. And that's why we have to reposition our aviation sector, especially get more of our people in the area of cargo. But apart from that, it's always good to concretize the abstraction, and I give you good examples. In the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, we see ourselves as a very solid platform to be able to educate our people and also capacitate and help our people across the country. We're national chambers. You go to Nsukka, you find the Nsukka Chambers of Commerce. You go to Kaduna, you find the Kaduna Chambers of Commerce. You go to Sokoto, you find the Sokoto Chambers of Commerce. And our people are producing. And I'll give you a good example. I'm very fond of the Nsukka yellow pepper, which 300 farmers have been put together and are being capacitated and encouraged by the Chambers of Commerce with the intention of exporting in that particular area. That's a good practical example. The last time, I think about 4 or 5 days ago, last weekend to be exact, I went to Ilupeju as part of just going on the ground to see what is happening, not just sitting in the office and speaking grammar. And I found a company in Ilupeju that is producing roasted coffee from Nigerian coffee beans that can compete with your Kenyan coffee, Ethiopian coffee, coffee, which is what Starbucks now uses. And I was asking, he said, we are even not able to satisfy the Nigerian market yet. So I said, what are you doing? He said, we are taking a long view of the future and eyeing the AfCFTA to increase capacity to be able to produce roasted Nigerian coffee as a brand for export market. And I said, how are you doing that? He said, we've gone to acquire about 2 acres of land just around the bend around Ogun State to be able to produce. I think this should be the mindset, and this is what government should do in terms of encouraging people. And I think there's an area in terms of identify, especially the SMEs. They are very, very key. They will play a key role in context of the AfCFTA.
Yes,
and that's why the whole question of funding and all that is. I think we should find a meeting point between the ESP, the Economic Sustainability Plan, to deal with the COVID, as well as in context of capacitating our people, farmers and everybody, to be able to see what they can do with the AfCFTA. But education.
Exactly, which was what I wanted to ask. You talked about education, particularly the MSMEs, the small businesses. How informed are they about, the benefits of this deal?
I'll say that, honestly speaking, it's a long road. It's still long, it's not yet uhuru there, but we must work on it. And I'm saying that because when people, trade negotiations are usually very tough. And when changes are coming, people are, companies and others are usually very hedging. Recently, some companies came to us in NACCIMA, and they said they want to join us as corporate members. And we said, what is your view? What do you want? He said, we are doing this, taking this step with an eye for beyond our borders, exporting to West Africa, and also reaching out to other parts of the world, especially Africa too, because the African market, the AfCFTA, $1.2 trillion. In terms of population, it was huge, and very little inter-African trade is going on. If we can do a lot of those things among ourselves in Africa, when you have crises and problems like COVID, when everybody is shutting their doors, then there is an understanding among us in Africa to be able to do that. And, whether you like it or not, and I speak to you as a foreign service officer, 35 years across the world, marketing Nigeria, Honestly speaking, whether you like it or not, Nigeria will have to. If you don't wake up to it, they will say, they will drag you in. And I think that's why I'm very happy. The organized private sector itself is also working on this to be able to, one, educate our people, the companies, and get everybody ready. By the way, within the framework of the AfCFTA too, we also have the mediation conciliation. You can't believe that Nigerian lawyers are already stepping in and going to educate other people, other countries. They're being invited. They're being invited by other countries in readiness for the AfCFTA. So why can't we, and why should we not act on our part here at home?
Now, we've been talking about, Nigeria and, exporting. What about importing? This deal is talking about the free movement of trade in and out. But do you agree? The question is this. Some have argued that this will probably make Nigeria some sort of dumping ground. So do you agree with this?
The question of dumping goods in Nigeria within the framework against the background of the AfCFTA was one of the first things which, of course, led to the tough stand against it by manufacturers and everybody, And it's reality, no doubt about it. Market 200 million. You don't even need to go beyond Agege sometimes once you capture a part of the Nigerian market. And I like giving concrete examples. There was a time, I think, some chocolates, I think, from Ghana. We were out and we were discussing, we went for a meeting, and people were saying, look, all we've done is just to capture some small packet of market run. So they turned their cocoa into chocolate. Guess what, Bessie? They were making as much as $5 million, just exporting. So the attraction of the Nigerian market is there. It is left for us, and that is why the whole question of the question of certificate of origins, the origin of the goods, must be from Africa, and that's why we need to work closely on this. Implicitly, the stakeholders must work closely together. One, to make sure that our grounds does not become a dumping ground. Currently now, everything comes in from every part of the world, from China, from India, from Pakistan. I work in the chambers of commerce, and I get emails every day. DG, please help us link up with your members. I said, what do you want to do with it? They want them to buy this, and I said, we want you to come and produce in here. So those are key issues which we must deal with in terms of what exactly to prevent our place becoming a dumping ground, which means our product must also meet up to the international standard for us to be able to also export. So it's a key area which we have to look into, But we can't say because of the fear of goods coming in, not saying we will not be part and parcel of that. So it will be left for us, of course, to do what can be done to prevent our place become a dumping ground.
Now, part of what the AfCFTA entails is the elimination of tariffs, and of course, this could possibly wipe out hundreds of millions of revenue generated through import duty by customs. Exactly. So won't this affect the country's revenue plus, bearing in mind the fall in crude oil price?
Business morning in 20 minutes is too short for us to be able to go on to the nitty-gritty of it. But the point as far as that is concerned, it's a long thing. It's not something which will happen in 6 months or 1 year. You also have the right, as a country, as part of members of the AfCFTA, these are the goods which, of course, I will allow in for now. In terms of your tariffs, there's a graduated spectrum in terms of reduction of tariff before you get to zero. So that is there. It takes a long time. It takes a long period, which gives you time to be able to, one, you want to protect your infant industry at this particular period. These are the tariffs. So if you hike up tariffs, it means you're using that to be able to protect your industry. That particular period, you are also helping. Especially also in the area of agribusiness. We've talked so much about agriculture because agri is going to be part and parcel of the big thing in terms of this, in terms of the AfCFTA itself. But we're now looking beyond agriculture to go into the area of agribusiness. It's a huge one, the entire value chain. And that's why I'm glad and indeed happy that recently we heard the head of state mention about the youth agriculture program. This is similar to what we know as the agripreneur. Agripreneur coming from the word agriculture and entrepreneur. So the agripreneur initiative is also a key and very important area. Especially it is targeted at young people. targeted at young people. So the fact that you have a BA English or you have a BA Religious Study or BA Theatre does not stop you from going to agribusiness as a young people, because we must also look at the whole question of our young people. And in context of the AfCFTA, I think it's very, very good, very necessary to take them early on. And that's why in NACCIMA, we have a NACCIMA Youth Entrepreneurs, a part of which we are helping to sensitize and also educate our young people to be part of it, and also from the entrepreneurship perspective.
All right, we're running out of time, and there's something I need you to touch on. Of course, you mentioned Ghana earlier.
Yes, I did.
And we know what is happening, talking about the trade impasse between Nigeria and Ghana. So what will be your reaction, especially as it affects the future of the AfCFTA? We're talking about the free movement of trade within Africa. So what would you
certainly
talk about
certainly the flashpoint between Nigerian traders and Ghanaian authorities is always a sore point. No doubt about it, but it's a reality which we must confront. But such difficulties does not mean that we cannot sort things out, and that's why I had to answer this question at a particular point in time, that I'm very indeed glad that the Ghanaian president happens to be the president of ECOWAS now. It's going to be part of the thing and issues which, of course, he will have to sort out, definitely, and which we must sort out, It's an issue which is always on the table, which we must work on. And definitely, it's also a beautiful thing that the AfCFTA headquarters is in Ghana, Accra. And I'm sure it's one of the issues which the Secretary General and the entire team in that place would say, look, listen, West Africa, Ghanaian, Nigerian traders, in context of the AfCFTA, we must find a way to sort out this problem and find a solutions to it.
Well, yeah, what solutions would you possibly recommend?
One of the things which we do, especially within the framework of the Chambers of Commerce, is we also work both at the national level and among ourselves in West Africa. Currently, the national president, the president of the West African Chambers of Commerce and Industry is Ajia Saratu Iyaliu, who happens to be the national president of NACCIMA. And the FEWASI, the Federation of West African Chambers of Commerce, has also taken this on board in terms of finding a resolution. Because West Africa is key, ECOWAS is key in context of the AfCFTA. And we've given a good example, and we must continue to work on it. This is one of the areas which and a lot is going on behind the table to try and see and sort things out.
We're all waiting to see that the issues are sorted out. Well, many thanks, Ambassador Ayo Olukoni, the DG of NACCIMA. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for the program. Communication impacts on facet of development, and channels as a frontline communication outfit, you're doing a great thing. And we want to work closely with you, especially in context of the AfCFTA.
Thank you very much. We'll be glad to work with you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be dwelling more on the trade standoff between Nigeria and Ghana when we return in just a moment. Please stay with us.